So my brand has been suffering of an identity crisis since I launched it about a year and a half ago. And for anyone who works in branding, you kind of have to determine what your mission is, what your set of values are, what your bio is, what your story is, right? And it's been extremely difficult to navigate around it because, so many things have been evolving, it kind of organically grew. I just decided to jump in and without having all the answers. And it was as I was working and as I started selling and developing new products that things started to clarify a little bit. So fast forward a year and a half later, I really had to take some time to figure things out and redefine, who I am as an artist, as a fragrance artist, what my brand is about, what's my mission, and I think I'm coming down to something that's making a lot of sense now. And ideally, you should have all these answers when you're about to start the brand, but truth be told is that it doesn't always happen that way. Sometimes you really just have to push ahead and let things fall into place as you're working on them. And I consider branding, like I come from a background of branding, but I consider branding just as artistic as, the art of creating a fragrance. I believe art is slow and it's a slow process, and same goes to bringing a brand that is meaningful and that has an interesting story arc and reason of being. And here's kind of where I started. So this is a postcard I produced where, I had two dancers as models, but my first slogan was bewitching fragrances for all. It was meant to be an idea of inclusivity, which is extremely important to me. That's an obvious value that is part of my brand. And then if you kind of look at this is the old description. I kind of talked about, like I'm Toronto based. That was important for me. But that I'm influenced by old principles of alchemy, which is true, but it never felt like it was touching the essence of what I was doing. And here's where shit hits the fan. I had, three principles of operation, which is wellness, inclusivity, and sustainability. So true, I find all of those really important, but to make them like as essential items to list like that so boldly as part of my identity, it just never sat well with me. For example, wellness. Yes, I do feel that you can achieve certain levels of wellness by leveraging scent. But in the current context of where we commodify like wellness, that never sat well with me. I don't like that wellness has stayed as something undefined. So, that never felt good for me. The other one is sustainability. I feel that like in 2024, that should just be a given that all companies do their best to be as sustainable as possible. I didn't want to make it an identity, but here it is like printed on paper. So in a nutshell, when I read all of these kind of things, like I just felt like I never hit the essence of what I was doing. So I really needed to take a step back and kind of look at what I was doing, what I was creating, the types of fragrances I was creating. Really consider what I was naturally gravitating towards and what I was doing. And the one thing that I realized that I was doing is that I have an extremely theatrical approach. I come from the world of theater, classical music, and stage arts. And I brought that influence into everything I was doing, from the themes of my fragrances to the way I was selling them, to the whole, selling process. So with that in mind, I've been working the last few weeks on not a full rebrand, but really rewriting all of the literature associated with my brand description, bio, mission, and set of values. I needed to make it closer to what was making me tick, and even more importantly, what was attracting naturally clients to me and my products. And really thank you to everyone who has given me feedback, who has supported my brand one way or another. All of you have helped me determine exactly what I was about and how I was going to move forward. Anywho, as you can tell, I'm a chronic overthinker, but it is extremely important for me that everything that I do, from the brand signature to the products that I release to all the literature that I create, has meaning and purpose. And if you're curious about all this and what is coming down the pipeline, make sure to follow, because I will be unveiling bits and pieces of it in the upcoming weeks.